And we're back with the program. This is the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos. I almost think like I'm in a Shasta commercial when I say that. Hold on. Don't give me that so soda, the same old cola. I want a rock and rolla. I want a pop. I want a Shasta. I want to
Nice.
taste pizzazz. Yeah, all that great taste Shasta has. I don't even like Shasta, and I remember that. I won't scare anybody else out there. Also, I won't finish the commercial song, but
That's pretty good, though.
yes, I try. Once again, it's Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I'm here along with my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend among fantasy football gurus, the man behind ffpater.com. You also got to check out his Facebook group, Fantasy Football Pater Podcast on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then also as well, you got to check out the great podcast he has every Tuesday and Saturday. It drops. It's the Fantasy Football Pater podcast. It's Tyler Baker. What's going on, my friend?
Dude, it's good to be here, man. It's always good to talk to you. Always good
I
to talk
know,
to you.
I know. Indeed, it's always great to talk to you. A lot of great stuff going on. I feel I'm competitive because I've listened to your advice and the guys that help you on more than one occasion. You've pulled me out a couple of wins that I probably wouldn't have gotten on my own volition as far as fantasy football is concerned. Fantasy basketball, I'm rocking as normal. I'm starting off on a
Oh,
good note
right on.
there, but
Right
we
on.
won't go there. At least my players are not, twisting and breaking ankles or tearing up knees and all that stuff. So I'm good there so far. As far as that's concerned. But football is the thing that we're talking about, and fantasy football. Week 7 in the NFL is here, and who better to talk about with me than Tyler Baker? Tyler, what are some of the points that you want to hit on this weekend in the NFL?
Well, we're going to see a Green Bay Packers team without Aaron Rodgers, and they're going up against the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans, man, they've had a lot of bumps in the road, but it looks like their defense is starting to turn around, and this could be a really good game for Drew Brees and company to come out and make a statement. Adrian Peterson, who? Because they're doing pretty well with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. So I think as the season goes on, Alvin Kamara is going to keep getting a bigger share. That he's definitely the guy of the future there. So that's going to be a game that I'm going to watch. Brett Hundley, he's no Aaron Rodgers, but he's got wheels and he still has a great receiving core around him. So as bad as that blow was, I don't think it's the end of the line for Green Bay. And it's interesting that they haven't put Aaron Rodgers on injured reserve. So maybe he
Very
could come
surprising.
back at the very end of the season if they're still in it. Aaron Rodgers had surgery today. And again, if they thought that there was a chance that he could come back, then they're not going to put him on IR, and they haven't done it yet. So, and if they don't do it in the next week or so after the surgery, after the doctors kind of see how everything went, then we could have Andrew. We could have Aaron Rodgers back at the end of the season. But Andrew Luck.
We'll talk about Andrew Luck right now. Just hold off on that. But
Oh
it's
man.
great. Well, as long as people have an idea what Brett Hundley can do. No, he's not Aaron Rodgers, but
Mm-mm.
I think with, like you said, he does run the ball a bit better than Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
He could provide fantasy owners touchdowns running that might surprise some people. So as long as he stays away from the interception bug, you think he might
Mm-hmm.
turn out to be a solid, if not spectacular, option.
We'll see. He has a good team around him. He's been in that system for 3 years now. I think it depends on how Mike McCarthy is going to deal with it, and if he can put together game plans that can play into what Brent Hundley does well, they could still be a competitive team. But they're not going to be able to play the way that they did with Aaron Rodgers, and unfortunately, they lost both of their starting tackles last week, and that offensive line is banged up. I think that that's probably not going to bode well for them. But we'll see. The Saints defense has been improving. I'm not buying in that that they've turned it around and that they're a good defense now. I'm really not buying that yet. But that game is one that I'm going to be watching a lot of things in that game because so many fantasy guys have Green Bay Packers all over their team. There were so many viable fantasy players on that offense. And now a lot of guys are, really kind of wondering what to expect. I think everybody takes a down tick, but that's still a great receiving core, and maybe they'll be able to cover up some of Brett Hundley's shortcomings.
Now, you also talked about Andrew Luck, who's not
boy.
having the best of luck, because it looks like during the course of the week, his progression towards coming back onto the field took a turn for the worse, correct?
Yeah, he was throwing and had a setback and had to get a cortisone shot. And lately there's been reports surfacing that maybe Irsay and the Colts knew that he was going to be out the whole time and just kind of led their fan base along. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that a franchise would be so nefarious as to do something like that. But they've kept pushing that timetable back, and they've been pushing it back. And it was Irsay said a week before the season that, oh yeah, he could start this season. Well, we're going into week 7. He had a setback. We were hearing week 8. Now maybe it's 9, 10, who knows? It's certainly, for me, I've been buying low on a lot of Colts players, and now I'm wondering when that is going to pay off. But there's a little bit more stability in that running game now. Ryan Turbin is out for the year, and that paves the way for the rookie Marlon Mack. Will probably get a lot more work. Frank Gore, he's still there. He's still Frank Gore, but now it's a 2-headed monster instead of a 3-headed monster with Robert Turman, who was their short yardage back and kind of their goal line back. He's out now.
So what are some of the other things that you're looking forward to this coming weekend that you think fantasy owners need to be made aware of, or some things that may be hinted or that you're looking forward to talking about on your Saturday program?
Well, that's all going to come down to the Friday injury report. We learned a lot Friday. Now, another injured quarterback in Jameis Winston. He hasn't been practicing. We were not expecting him to practice with an AC joint. It really just needs rest. It needs rehab. And so they weren't going to push him throughout the week. Now, he was at practice during the part of today's practice, Thursday's practice, that the press was allowed to. He didn't throw any passes. Now, maybe he tried to throw some after the press left. We'll find out on Friday with Friday's injury report. If he's throwing, he's probably going to play. But you definitely want to keep your eye on that. It looks like Marcus Mariota is good to go. He's practicing in full. And so I'm sure he's taking it easy on that hamstring in practice. Anytime you have a hamstring injury, you want to take it easy, but he's practicing in full. So it looks like he's a full go. But Jameis Winston's really the one that it's going to come down to what they tell us on Friday as to whether or not he's going to play.
Now, there's also someone I wanted to talk about real quick that had a great start to their season. Looked like they were going to be a great replacement as far as to take up all the slack for the retirement of Calvin Johnson, and that's Golden Tate. Unfortunately, he hasn't had the best couple of weeks, and it looks like as of right now, it's gotten a little bit worse.
Yep. Now, they're not playing this week, so they have a week. So they have some time to get healthy. But the last I saw, it was a 3-4 week injury. So Kenny Golladay, they're going to be expecting him to come back. Now, Golladay hasn't played, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. But he was close to playing this past week. And now, with the bye week and getting healthy, it's going to be Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay, and TJ Jones. TJ Jones has come in and done some pretty good things. He's kind of a role player. And when they bring him in and ask him to do things, he's actually pretty efficient. So I think they take a little bit of a step back without that solid possession guy. But we'll see after the bye week, see what the practice reports are. But that team, I think, will still keep on trucking.
And if there's one maybe little secret that you might want to share with the audience for this weekend's game, maybe a player that you're scouting, maybe position that you're looking at as far as prospering, what sticks out to you as far as maybe something that maybe not everybody's looking at when it comes to the games this weekend?
You know what? There's a lot of those little things with every team. For me, I think Wendell Smallwood coming back to the Eagles, I think that's a big deal. LeGarrette Blount's actually done pretty well, but I think Wendell Smallwood once he gets a chance to shine, once he's been healthy, because he hasn't been. I think that backfield is his. We'll see.
I think there's going to be a shootout, by the way, with Washington this weekend. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
It could be. Philadelphia right now has the best record in the NFL at 5-1, and the Redskins, the Redskins can play well. They just kind of don't sometimes. So it'll be interesting. Also, CJ Prosise is finally healthy in Seattle, and I think he's the best running back on that team. And now that he's finally healthy, it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate him and what he's able to do. Devontae Parker may play this week. Again, the Friday injury report. I think that's a big deal for a Miami team that's trying to find some life. And they showed a little bit of that last week, getting Jay Ajayi going. If they can get Jay Ajayi going and get Devontae Parker healthy, they could be competitive again. So, each team kind of has those dynamics. One of the big things that's happening right now, it looks like DeMarco Murray might not play. At the beginning of the week, they said that he was fine. Oh, yeah. Well, today they were talking about contingency plans and bringing up a running back from the practice squad. So we'll look at Friday's injury report. If DeMarco Murray can't go, this could be a big week for Henry. I forgot his first name. Wow. Well,
for Tennessee, right?
Yeah. Henry's his last name. Geez. Wow. When you get a brain fart, it's Derrick Henry. So, so he could come in and have a good week. And he's on a lot of rosters, just kind of sitting there waiting for something happen to DeMarco Murray, but and maybe even in a DFS, he could be a pretty solid play. It's Derrick Henry. Yeah.
I just clicked on the page when you said that. It's like,
yeah. It's late. Yeah, and then also Cincinnati coming off of a bye, they may be able to get that offense together. It looks like Joe Mixon is a bigger part. John Ross, it looks like he might be able to play. So a couple of the rookies might be able to get involved.
Anything else stick out to you?
That's about it. Matt Forte is practicing in full. It's so frustrating. I like Todd Bowles, but as a coach, sometimes I think there are two better running backs than Forte, but he insists on getting Forte the ball. So now that he's practicing, guys like Elijah McGuire and Bilal Powell take a step back, especially McGuire. So who knows? In Jacksonville, Leonard Fournette is banged up. He's got that ankle issue. Hasn't been practicing this week. So Chris Ivory, who had a monster game in PPR leagues last week, he could come in and get some work there in Jacksonville. They do have in Indianapolis. So yeah, there's a couple interesting twists and turns that continue to happen in the NFL with personnel changes. And, we're going into week 7. Teams are starting to settle into their identities. But man, this season has just given us so many twists and turns, a lot of big injuries. I mean, the number 1 running back, the number 1 quarterback, and a top 3 wide receiver are all gone by week 7. And I can't remember a year in fantasy where there's been this many injuries to blue chip players. It's been a little bit difficult to deal with.
Indeed, it has. But if you check out the Facebook site, Fantasy Football Patriot Podcast, the group site there, you can get all the help you need to help negotiate around those injuries with Tyler Baker and the rest of his staff. They're giving you the advice you need on trades, whether or not you should do it or not, on lineup changes, everything going on within fantasy football. You can ask your questions there and check out what everybody else is doing as far as their rosters are concerned. Also, as well, check out his great articles, including what he talked about with Aaron Rodgers. You want to check it out on ffpater.com. And, of course, with the injury report coming out on Friday, you have to listen to his great podcast each and every Saturday, plus his Tuesday podcast as well when they drop on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Overcast.fm, Player.fm, and SoundCloud. Just type in on the search Fantasy Football Pater Podcast, and it comes right up for you. Tell you what, Tyler, it's going to be another great weekend in the NFL. Have a Shasta on me, my friend.
I don't want a regular cola.
No. That's right. Shasta. I just wanted to say pizzazz. I think that's probably why. But anyways, want to thank you again, Tyler, for being part. Want to thank you again, Tyler, for being part of the broadcast here today. And you are so much a part of Pop Culture Cosmos. We truly appreciate, again, being part of this week's PCC Multiverse.